AMD is an American multinational semiconductor company. The company was founded on May 1st, 1969 by Jerry Sanders, and to this very day the company is still alive and healthy. So, how did it become so popular? Let's find out. First 12 years. Advanced Micro Devices was formally incorporated by Jerry Sanders, along with 7 of his colleagues from Fairchild Semiconductor on May 1st, 1969. Saunders, an electrical engineer who was the director of marketing at Fairchild, had, like many Fairchild executives, grown frustrated with the increasing lack of support, opportunity, and flexibility within the company. He later decided to leave to start his own semiconductor company. Robert Noyce, who had developed the first silicon integrated circuit at Fairchild in 1959, had left Fairchild together with Gordon Moore and founded the semiconductor company Intel July 1968. In September 1969, AMD moved from its temporary location in Santa Clara to Sunnyvale, California. To immediately secure a customer base, AMD initially became a second-source supplier of microchips designed by Fairchild and National Semiconductor. AMD first focused on producing logic chips. The company guaranteed quality control to United States military standard, an advantage in the early computer industry since unreliability in microchips was a distinct problem that customers, including computer manufacturers, the telecommunications industry, and instrument manufacturers, wanted to avoid. In November 1969, the company manufactured its first product, the AM9300, a 4-bit MSI shift register, which began selling in 1970. Also in 1970, AMD produced its first proprietary product, the AM2501 logic counter, which was highly successful. Its best-selling product in 1971 was the AM2505, the fastest multiplier available. In 1971, AMD entered the RAM chip market, beginning with the AM3101, a 64-bit bipolar RAM. The year, AMD also greatly increased the sales volume of its linear integrated circuits, and by year-end, the company's total annual sales reached $4.6 million US. AMD went public in September 1972. The company was a second source for Intel MOS LSI circuits by 1973, with products such as AM14-1506 and AM14-1507 dual 100-bit dynamic shift registers. By 1975, AMD was producing 212 products, of which 49 were proprietary, including the AM9102, a static N-channel, 1024-bit RAM, and 3 low-power Schottky MSI circuits. AM25L S07, AM25L S08, and AM25L S09. Intel had curated the first microprocessor, its 4-bit 4004, in 1971. By 1975, AMD entered the microprocessor market with the AM9080, a reverse-engineered clone of the Intel 8080, and the AM29-bit slice microprocessor family. When Intel began installing microcode in its microprocessors in 1976, it entered into a cross-licensing agreement with AMD, which granted a copyright license to the microcode in its microprocessors and its peripherals effective October 1976. In 1977, AMD entered into a joint venture with Siemens, a German engineering conglomerate wishing to enhance its technology expertise and enter the American market. Siemens purchased 20% of AMD's stock, giving the company an infusion of cash to increase its product lines. The two companies also jointly established Advanced Microcomputers AMC, located in Silicon Valley and in Germany, allowing AMD to enter the microcomputer development and manufacturing field, in particular based on AMD's second source Zilog Z8000 microprocessors. When the two companies' vision for advanced microcomputers diverged, AMD bought out Simon's stake in the American division in 1979. AMD closed advanced microcomputers in late 1981 after switching focus to manufacturing second-source Intel x86 microprocessors. Total sales in fiscal year 1978 topped $100 million, and in 1979 AMD debuted on the New York Stock Exchange. In 1979, production also began on AMD's new semiconductor fabrication plant in Austin, Texas. The company already had overseas assembly facilities in Penang and Manila and began construction on a fabrication plant in San Antonio in 1881. In 1981, AMD began supplying semiconductor products for telecommunications, an industry undergoing rapid expansion and innovation. Technology exchange agreement with Intel. Intel had introduced the first x86 microprocessors in 1978. In 1981, IBM created its PC and wanted Intel's x86 processors, but only under the condition that Intel provide a second source manufacturer for its patented x86 microprocessors. Intel and AMD entered into a 10-year technology exchange agreement, first signed in October 1981 and formally executed in February 1982. The terms of the agreement were that each company could acquire the right to become a second source manufacturer of semiconductor products developed by the other. That is, each party could earn the right to manufacture and sell a product developed by the other, if agreed to by exchanging the manufacturing rights to a product of equivalent technical complexity. The technical information and licenses needed to make and sell a part would be exchanged for a royalty to the developing company. The 1982 agreement also extended the 1976 AMD Intel Cross licensing agreement through 1995. The agreement included the right to invoke arbitration of disagreements, and after 5 years, the right of either party to end the agreement with 1 year's notice. The main result of the 1982 agreement was the AMD became a second source manufacturer of Intel's x86 microprocessors and related chips, and Intel provided AMD with database tapes for its 8086, 80186, and 8286 chips. However, in the event of a bankruptcy or takeover of AMD, the cross-licensing agreement would be effectively cancelled. Beginning in 1982, AMD began volume producing second-source Intel-licensed 8086, 8088, 80186, and 8188 processors, and by 1984, its own AM286 clone of Intel's 80286 processor for the rapidly growing market of IBM PCs and IBM clones. It also continued its successful concentration on proprietary bipolar chips. In 1983, it introduced INT STD 1000, the highest manufacturing quality standard in the industry. The company continued to spend greatly on research and development, and in addition to other breakthrough products, created the world's first 512K EPROM in 1984. That year, AMD was listed in the book the 100 Best Companies to Work For in America, and later made the Fortune 500 list for the first time in 1985. By mid-1985, the microchip market experienced a severe downturn, mainly due to long-time aggressive trade practices, dumping from Japan, but also due to a crowded and non-innovative chip market in the United States. AMD rode out the mid-1980s crisis by aggressively innovating, modernizing, devising the Liberty Chip program of designing and manufacturing one new chipset per week for 52 weeks in the fiscal year 1986, and by heavily lobbying the U.S. government until sanctions and restrictions were put in place to prevent predatory Japanese pricing. During this time, AMD withdrew from the DRAM market and made some headway into the CMOS market, which it had lagged in, having focused instead on bipolar chips. AMD had some success in the mid-1980s with the AMD 7910 and AMD 7911 World Chip FSK modem, one of the first multi-standard devices that covered both Bell and CCITT tones at up to 1200 baud half duplex or 300 full duplex. Beginning in 1986, AMD embraced the perceived shift toward RISC with their own AMD AM29000 29K processor. The 29K survived as an embedded processor. The company also increased its EPROM memory market share in the late 1980s. Throughout the 1980s, AMD was a second source supplier of Intel x86 microprocessors. In 1991, it introduced its own 386 compatible AM386, an AMD-designed chip. Creating its own chips, AMD began to compete directly with Intel. AMD had a large, successful flash memory business even during the dot-com bust. In 2003, to divest some manufacturing and aid its overall cash flow, which was under duress from aggressive microprocessor competition from Intel, AMD spun off its flash memory business and manufacturing into Spansion, a joint venture with Fujitsu, which had been co-manufacturing flash memory with AMD since 1993. In December 2005, AMD divested itself of Spansion in order to focus on the microprocessor market, and Spansion went public in an IPO. Acquisition of ATI spin-off of Global Foundries, and acquisition of Linux. On July 24, 2006, AMD announced its acquisition of the graphics processor company ATI Technologies. AMD paid $4.3 billion and 58 million shares of its stock for a total approximately $5.4 billion. The transaction was completed on October 25, 2006. On August 30th, 2010, AMD announced that it would retire the ATI brand name for its graphic chipsets in favor of the AMD brand name. In October 2008, AMD announced plans to spin off manufacturing operations in the form of Global Foundries Incorporated, a multi-billion-dollar joint venture with Advanced Technology Investment Company, an investment company formed by the government of Abu Dhabi. The partnership and spin-off gave AMD an infusion cash and allowed it to focus solely on chip design. To assure the Abu Dhabi investors of the new venture's success, AMD's CEO Hector Rules stepped down in July 2008 while remaining executive chairman in preparation for becoming chairman of Global Foundries in March 2009. President and COO Dirk Myers became AMD CEO. Recessionary losses necessitated AMD cutting 1,100 jobs in 2009. In August 2011, AMD announced that former Lenovo executive Rory Reid would be joining the company as CEO, replacing Meyer. In November 2011, AMD announced plans to lay off more than 10%, 1,400 of its employees from across all divisions worldwide. In October 2012, it announced plans to lay off an additional 15% of its workforce to reduce costs in the face of declining sales revenue. AMD acquired the low-power server manufacturer SeaMicro in early 2012 with an eye to bringing out an ARM architecture server chip. On October 8, 2014, AMD announced that Rory Reid had stepped down after 3 years as president and chief executive officer. He succeeded by Lisa Su, a key intellectual who had been serving as chief operating officer since June. In October 16, 2014, AMD announced a new restructuring plan alongside with its Q3 results. Effective July 1st, 2014, AMD reorganized into two businesses groups. Computing and graphics, which primarily includes desktop and notebook processors and chipsets, discrete GPUs, and professional graphics. And enterprise embedded and semi-custom, which primarily includes server and embedded processors, dense servers, semi-custom SoC products, including solutions for gaming consoles, engineering services, and royalties. As part of its restructuring, AMD announced that 7% of its global workforce would be laid off by the end of 2014. After the Global Foundry spin-off and subsequent layoffs, AMD was left with significant vacant space at One AMD Place, at its aging Sunnyvale headquarters office complex. On August 2016, AMD's 47 years in Sunnyvale came to a close when it signed a lease with the Ivern Company for a new 220,000 square feet headquarters building in Santa Clara. AMD's new location at Santa Clara faces the headquarters of Archival Intel across the Bayshore Freeway and Sam Thomas Aquino Creek. Around the same time, AMD also agreed to sell One AMD Place to the Ivern Company. In April 2019, the Ivern Company secured approval from the Sunnyvale City Council of its plans to demolish One AMD Place and redevelop the entire 32-acre site into townhomes and apartments. In October 2020, AMD announced that it was acquiring Exonix in an all-stock transaction valued at $35 billion. The deal is expected to be completed by the end of 2021. List of CEOs. Jerry Saunders started in 1969 and left in 2002. He was the founder and electrical engineer. Hector Ruse. He started in 2002 and left in 2008. He was an electrical engineer. Dirk Meyer. He started in 2008 and left in 2011. He was a computer engineer. Rory Reid. He joined in 2011 and left in 2014. He was in information systems. Lisa Su. She started in 2014 and is still CEO to this very day. She's an electrical engineer. And there's the history of AMD. How did it become so popular? Well, they were teaming up with Intel back in the past, and Intel was very popular with their processors as well. And when they split up, they basically became competitors, but with AMD and Intel working together back in the past, that is how they became very popular. Anyways, this is where I'm going to end off this video. If you guys happen to enjoy this video, please make sure to hit the like button, and also don't forget to subscribe because I do videos every single day. And also don't forget to ring that notification bell so you never miss a single video that I upload. And also don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell on my second channel. My second channel will be the third link in the description below. And if you guys would like to send me fan art, you guys can send me fan art on my Instagram. My Instagram will be the second link in the description below. And if you guys would like to join my Roblox fan group, my Roblox fan group will be the first link in the description below. And if you guys would like to follow me on Twitter, my Twitter will be the fourth link in the description below. And if you guys would like to follow me on Reddit, my Reddit will be the fifth link in the description below. And if you guys would like to follow me on TikTok, my TikTok will be the sixth link in the description below. And if you guys would like to check out my Facebook page will be the seventh link in the description below. And until then, I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye!